Hey guys, Jonathan here, and today I thought we would focus in on the Spidey and his amazing friends Dinosaur Lego minifigures. I posted a review reviewing all three sets, but considering the figures are what most of us would be buying this for anyways, I thought I'd do a separate video just talking about the figures on their own. Now that being said, this is definitely confusing, like why is Spider-Man a raptor, why is Miles a stegosaurus, and I took the time to actually watch and research the Spidey and his amazing friends show to be able to explain to you what the heck is going on here. So, with that being said, in the center you can see we've got four traditional minifigs, which we'll look at in a second. But we have Spider-Man as a velociraptor, Miles as a stegosaurus, Gwen as a pterodactyl, Rhino as a triceratops, which kind of doesn't make sense, and Green Goblin as a raptor himself. And the reasoning behind this is because of the character Reptile, who's, of course, in the comics and in the Spidey and His Amazing Friends show, who can turn into different types of dinosaurs. Reptile is powered by this majestic red stone that gives the dinosaur transformation powers, and basically at various points in Spidey and His Amazing Friends, that stone is used either by accident or intentionally to transform the characters into dinosaurs. There's various episodes that this takes place in and across, so these sets aren't actually based on anything specific from the show, rather more instances that, pop up, and then the sets are just made by Lego as play sets. So with that out of the way and the lore dump behind us, let's actually take a look at what's here in front of us now. So up first we have Spidey, and just like all the figures in this, he has the mid-sized legs, which are shorter legs that are now posable. We've been getting these for quite a few years now, but just in case you've never seen them, that's how they work. And you'll notice that his design has a green spider and green lines on it. The reason for this is because their suits get infused with the dino transformation powers. It's very Power Ranger-esque, if I do say so myself. But that's basically where that comes from, and why he has that variation. As far as I can tell, it's the same Spidey head we've been getting for a while, and we get a little brick piece here for Tracy, who of course is the character that kind of like helps them. It's like their little tech friend. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it is just a kid's show. But yeah, there you go, Spidey and Tracy. Okay, so here we are with Miles and Gwen, very much the same as Spidey from before, very similar suits to what we've been getting over the last several years, but this time with the green detailing on the torsos, just changing them up a little bit for their dinosaur transformation arc. And here we have the Trapster, a very, very obscure Marvel Comics character who has been translated into Spidey and His Amazing Friends. In the comics, the Trapster is actually a guy. He debuted in Strange Tales number 104 in January 1963 as a character named Paste Pot Pete. Yes, you heard that correctly. Then that same character became the Trapster in Fantastic Four number 38 in May of 1965, then kind of became more of a Spider-Man villain over the years. That being said, this version here is based off the show, so it is the little girl who is Trapster in the show. Doesn't really resemble the comic book version of Trapster, but is very, very similar to the one in the show. Definitely using some cool pieces there, like the magenta hands, torso, and helmet, and overall a really nice figure, but definitely a random one that I did not predict whatsoever. Now that brings us to the dinosaurs, and up first we have the Rhino transformed into a Triceratops. This does happen in the show, and basically you would just think this is a regular Triceratops, if not for some of the, silver scaling on the legs and the silver mouth, but really if you're like a Jurassic World collector and stuff like that, this really translates well and could just be seen as a regular dinosaur with some extra scales. The one thing that's weird is the gray pieces that are used in the center are actually a slightly different color than the molding of the Triceratops. It doesn't look that bad on camera, but in person it definitely is a pretty stark contrast, so just be aware of that if you decide to pick this up. Here we have Ghost Spider-Gwen as a pterodactyl, and in the show, when she activates her dino transformation powers, this is what she turns into. It's using the standard Jurassic-style pterodactyl here, but of course with the web wings, it's pretty interesting, and of course we've got the webbing around the eyes, or really just like the highlight around the eyes, and overall it is a very nice figure, but again, very random. Along those same tokens, we have Miles as a Stegosaurus, once again using the regular Stegosaurus body that comes in the Jurassic style of sets, but this time decked out in black and red for Miles Morales. Again, this could really fit into your Jurassic scenes pretty well, and you just say it's a different Stegosaurus, but of course we know that it's Miles Morales. Definitely a very odd thing here, and just like when Miles transforms into a dino, this is his form. Now here we have the Green Goblin transformed into a Velociraptor. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say in my life, but this is pretty fascinating in that it's from an earlier arc of the show. Like when we were talking about Miles and Gwen, that actually happens over an entire arc of a season. Like they get these upgraded powers. At least that's what I believe. I don't think it's contained to a single episode. I think it's used across several. But Green Goblin turning into a raptor actually just happened in one episode from what I gathered. So basically this gem from Reptile gets broken and it transforms Spider-Man, Green Goblin, and the Rhino into their forms that we get here. So it's just kind of interesting that these sets are drawing from a lot of different places. As you can see, there are some studs in the feet for it to connect to, and the arms don't move, the head doesn't move, but the jaw does open and close like that. And of course, they gave him a little hot dog accessory because I guess when you become a raptor, you become really hungry. And finally, we have the Raptor version of Spider-Man, which once again is pretty interesting because in the show, when Miles and Gwen get their upgrades and become, dinos, the dinosaur that Spider-Man becomes is actually a huge T-Rex. But in that one episode where Goblin and Spider-Man become Velociraptors, this is his form there. Once again, I'm saying a lot of sentences I never thought I would say in my life. The printing on this is really great with the web on the head and then the tracing around the eyes. The jaw opens and closes just like Goblin, and you can see he's got a little red gemstone there referencing what happens in the show. But what's interesting is these are completely unique molds for both characters. One looks like Goblin, one looks like Spider-Man. So I really can't see the Goblin one being used again because I like the hat that's on there and everything. But the Spider-Man one is just generic enough that this may be like another Velociraptor just from Jurassic. Off the top of my head, I'm not exactly sure, but it is a little bit more generic in terms of the molding compared to the Goblin. So now that we've looked at everything, let's zoom out the video and call it a day. Alright guys, well needless to say, it's really expensive to get these sets. The cheapest one is 20 bucks, the next one up is 30, and the big one is like 55 bucks. So, I mean, you're nearing 100 bucks when it comes down to it. And at the end of the day, I just really don't think that the sets on their own are worth it, but the figures and dinosaurs here are pretty unique, and I honestly can see them going up in value just because I feel like a lot of people aren't going to buy these, and then once they get retired in a couple of years, people will be like, oh crap, I really need that Miles Stegosaurus, and there we go. But who knows? The future remains unwritten, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Let me know what you think of these figures and dinosaurs, and I'll see you guys on the next video.